We're live, guys. This is going to be fun. We were talking about this in the background. We are live, right? We are live. Just making sure we're live. So it's going to happen. Hopefully we get some people join us. Oh, we got some questions already. Jeffrey Jacobs, my buddy Mitch, my buddy Brandon. You guys might know them from Dynasty Theory, Dynasty Trending, and Brandon will have a show in the future. We were just talking about that. Cat's out of the bag. I don't know if anybody wanted the cat out of the bag, but it's out of the bag. Good evening, good people. Saturday shows are kind of fun, and that's what this one's going to be. So if you want to be angry and bitter in the comments, go somewhere else. Go kick rocks. This is a fun show, and we're going to have fun with it. And I see some questions in there, and we'll get to those too. Tonight, what this is a what if rookie mock draft. Now, I can't go 4 rounds because we would be here until about midnight. Probably going to go around. And I'll explain this further. Obviously, when you're in a rookie draft, right, the problem with rookie drafts that we see, there's no context to them, right? There's a format. People always pick a format. It's 12-team Superflex, right? But your rookie drafts aren't just that. There's context. There's context as far as what your team looks like. What do you need? Things like that I don't think are ever addressed. So that's one of the things I wanted to get into tonight. You guys introduce yourselves real quick. Say hi to everyone.
What's up, everyone?
How's it going, everybody? It's good to see you all.
Dude, so for anyone who's watching, this is going to be more of a talking through each pick show, more so than we're just like, hey, player here, player there, player there. We're going to give you some scenarios to go through, or that we will go through when we're on the clock at this pick spot. And so that's kind of the format that this show's going with.
Yes. It's very much a thought exercise.
Yes.
This is something me and Scott used to do all the time, doing thought exercises where we just basically talk through things. So that's what it's going to be. So again, it's a mock draft. Right off the bat, a 101, there's really not much of a choice, right? I think every draft is Ashton Jeanty, unless, okay, there isn't a less. I think, 90% of the time you would probably say we're taking Ashton Jeanty. The caveats to that, or the times that you want to take Ashton Jeanty, I would say probably fall under one scenario, really. It's 14-team or more Superflex, and not just that, and your quarterback room has to be not good, right? Your quarterback room has to be something like Aaron Rodgers and Bryce Young, where you don't even have an anchor quarterback, right? Not Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young, because that quarterback room's fine. It literally has to be something like Bryce Young is your number 1 quarterback. That is the only scenario that I can see that you would take Cam Ward over Ashton Jeanty, and there is no scenario that I would ever take any other player over Ashton Jeanty ever in a Superflex league.
Yeah, it's pretty tough because there's a lot of people who have Derek Carr. I mean, that 101, either you tanked for Ashton Jeanty and you were planning on doing that, or your team was just that bad and you earned Ashton Jeanty, right? But one thing to know in the 14 and 16 team leagues is you do end up having teams like that. Like you'll have Derek Carr and Bryce Young, or you'll have a Kirk Cousins or something, because usually you can only walk into those with 2 quarterbacks. Then all of a sudden you're at the 101, you're like, crap, Jeanty's there, and I think I could trade him for more, but my league doesn't trade a lot. Do I just go with the quarterback? And I think almost everyone here is going to be like, you still probably go Jeanty 98% of the time. But there are some times to where you'll see Cam Ward go off the board in a 14 or 16 team league, and you're just like, yeah, I kind of get it. The 102 absolutely is, dying, and they're really happy. But sometimes that happens in those super ultra premium leagues.
Good, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through Dynasty, so I'm going to be always looking at Dynasty Daddy. Like that's going to be kind of like my chain of reference for what I'm looking at trades. Because if I have the 101 and we're in this situation, the 2% situation where we don't have Jeanty, right? And my team isn't ready for Ashton Jeanty, right? A couple years ago, the quandary was the Bijan, right? It was like, is my team ready for Bijan? Because the only things that are there is Bryce Young and at the time was CJ Stroud. Now I'm looking at Dynasty Daddy, and I pull it up, and what's the first trade that's there? CJ Stroud or the 101.
That's no.
No, that's not enough, right?
No.
And then I keep scrolling down, and I look and I see 101 and 201 or Drake May.
101 or 201 and Drake May.
So you have-
And how many teams is it?
That's a 12 by 10. So that's
No.
not even 14. Like, there's really not a trade in the database right now. People aren't making the trade to trade the 101 for an actual quarterback. Like, the closest trade that I saw that I was like, ooh, I might actually consider trading out of the pick, Chase Brown and the 101 or Jamar Chase. Because I can get the hammer.
Yeah. That's Jamar Chase, bro. You can't not take Chase. So yes.
So pretty much we're pretty much all lockstep. Like, Genty's pretty much
It's 90%
pretty
of
hard.
the time. Like I said, there could be infinite if this then that scenarios, but the only scenario that I see you taking a quarterback or should take a quarterback is obviously a trade. So let's leave that caveat out there. You know, if I can get Jamar Chase straight up, I'm doing it. If I can get Malik, what's that guy's name? Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, maybe Brian Thomas Jr., right? So the elite of the elite, I'll do. Obviously an elite quarterback or Cam Ward if it's a 14 team or more and I need a quarterback. All right. So that's 101. 102, right? So your options, obviously, if Genty's off the board or Genty, Cam Ward, what are you doing here, Mitch? I mean, there's obviously other options at 102 generally.
In 102, really, I probably threw 30 rookie drafts at this point with a fair amount of 102s. It's been Amari and Hampton the vast majority of the time, but I have had to sneak some Cam Ward in there. I think we all love Amari and Hampton's draft capital, where he is, landing spot, everything is great there. But can you really trade Amari and Hampton for a Drake May, right? Or just one of those quarterbacks to where you could kind of be a JJ McCarthy, Trevor Lawrence, that kind of, you probably can't. And so you're kind of looking then, do I go take Cam Ward, just knowing that I could have that starter who has upside? You could like the coaching staff, don't love the skill position players around him, but that's something they could easily do. They could improve on in future years. I think he's walking into an okay position. So, but those are the only two I'm going with. I've fallen in love with some other players, but I just can't quite ever take them at the 102. So for me, it's always been Hampton, or if I'm in like quarterback hell, I'll take Ward.
So let me ask you this. It is obviously super flex. You're set up at quarterback. You're set up at running back. Let's just say it's 12 by 10, whatever. You've got Chase Brown, Chuba Hubbard, and I don't know who's a running back right above those dudes. Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, Chase Brown, Chuba Hubbard, right? And you're set at quarterback. Your wide receiver room's actually also pretty good, right? You have a Drake London, you have T. Higgins, and you have, I don't know, let's say Michael Pittman. It's okay. In that scenario, and it's half point PPR, no PPC. No PPC, half point PPR hurts Travis Hunter. Full point PPR.
I was gonna say I'll still go Hampton.
Full point PPR, no PPC. Would you then think about going to Hunter?
I would in that scenario. I don't have a lot of leagues that are like that. Really, if I have the 102, I probably earned it. So I don't have a whole bunch of good players behind it. But if I was lucky enough to trade and get the 102 and already have that on my roster while I kind of have a stacked team, then going for Travis Hunter, going for that home run is something I would definitely think about doing.
Okay. So 103 would be Brandon. And obviously, no, maybe not obvious. Genty's not available. He is no longer an option. Genty's off the board in every league I've seen, no later than 102. And some of the sites I've looked at, 102 is about the only place that he falls to at the furthest. So 103, obviously that generally means that Genty's gone, Hampton and or Ward is gone, sometimes Travis Hunter. So what about you at 103? What are you looking at? And is there a couple different scenarios where the pick might change?
So I've had this scenario where I've had a 103 a couple times, and I've actually pulled the plug. I've actually pulled the trigger on Travis Hunter because those teams are rebuilding. I don't necessarily need the running back. I probably would, maybe consider coming up here for maybe TreVeyon Henderson if I want a running back. But if I don't want one, I know I could probably go Travis Hunter here and then maybe go a little bit farther down. I'm looking right now on Dynasty Daddy. I mean, the trades that are there, if I want to trade out because I don't love the pick, like I'm seeing 103 for Drake London and a 12x10. I see 103 for Matt Stafford and a 10 and a 104. I don't know if I necessarily love that.
That's no.
No. Like if I need a quarterback and I just see this trade now, 12x10, super flex 103 or Kyler Murray. I'll take Kyler for the 103. I'd rather have Kyler over Cam Ward, right? I think everybody who's sitting here would probably be like, yeah, give me Kyler. That's a little more safety.
So what if you don't need a quarterback?
Don't need a quarterback. Okay.
Don't need a quarterback. It's 103. Someone offers you Drake London, Travis Hunter's on the board. Which way would you go? That's just straight up wide receiver for wide receiver.
Right. I think it depends on where I'm at roster wise. I feel like if I'm rebuilding, I kind of want Travis because I do think that there's a little bit of an ADV spike, right? Like if he gets on the field, there could be a little bit of an ADV spike. Whereas with Drake London, that feels like that's kind of like the highest he's going to get, right? I don't know. Am I wrong in thinking that? Like that's kind of playing to what we expect Drake to be. Like we expect him to be 1,200 with what 10, 11 touchdowns with Michael Penix. Like,
if you look at the splits with Michael Penix last year, I mean, and it was a very short sample size. I think he was right around like 20 points per game or something like that. He did have a monster game in there too. But again, it's a very small sample size. But you got to pick one. So just pick one. Would it be Drake London or would it be Travis Hunter? That's the deal, right? Drake London for the 103. Someone just offers you right now. They're saying you could have Drake London if you give me the 103.
I'll probably take Drake London. As much as I was talking myself into Travis Hunter, like Travis is still behind BTJ.
Okay. No,
like it sucks, but like that's just it's like a weird tiebreaker.
So let me add one more scenario to it. I already forgot it as I'm working through this. No. This is the scenario, right? You basically don't have any needs on your team. Your team is stacked. Are you more likely to draft Travis Hunter if your wide receiver room is stacked already and you don't have any other glaring needs? Or are you more likely to take, say, even maybe if it's later, Tet McMillan? Like, is there anything, do you feel safer with Tet McMillan versus Travis Hunter? Are you more willing to take a risk if your wide receiver room is strong and take Travis Hunter?
I'm still fine taking Travis Hunter because it's still May 10th. And I still got like 4 months until I have to make the roster decision on who I want to start. You know, so if there's a little bit of hype and I want to, if somebody really needs that Travis Hunter, then I can move it. Or if I have somewhere else, you know, maybe I have like a Chris Godwin is my wide receiver 4 in that room, right? I've got like a Jets. I maybe got T Higgins. I got a Chris Godwin, and now I have Travis Hunter. Now I'm set at wide receiver. Maybe I can move one of them for something that I need later on in the offseason.
Okay. So at 103, is there anyone else you would take outside of Hampton, Ward, or Travis Hunter?
If assuming Hampton is on the board, I would take Hampton.
That's what I'm saying. Is there there's like no one else you would add to that mix, right? Because one of those dudes is going to be there.
One of those dudes is probably going to be there, and I'm fine with any one of those three. I mean, Mitch, you seem like you got somebody who's sitting there. Maybe.
No, I mean, I've gone really back and forth on the Travis Hunter and T-Mac, however we want to say his name now. I've gone back and forth on that so much that I find myself one day, hey, no, I want Travis Hunter. No. That profile is just so unreal with McMillan. I'm going him in spots. So I'm flip-flopping a lot there. And so the 103, 104, that's usually when I am ending up with one of those wide receivers. And the weird thing is I haven't seen Travis Hunter fall in drafts at all. It seems like he always goes at the 103 to 105, but you'll see McMillan go at the 108 and 109 at times. It's really weird kind of how the community is seeing those two guys.
I agree. It's been the range on Tet or T-Mac is a lot wider than the range on Hunter. As of right now, that could change over the course of the offseason, but as of right now, that range is pretty wide.
Okay. So after the 103, have either of you seen Hampton available in any of your leagues, or is Hampton just gone? Just gone.
Yep.
So for the basis of this conversation going forward, Genty is obviously not an option any longer. Neither would Hampton. no goes. So at 104, right? This does put you in an interesting situation because there's 1,000 different ways you could go, obviously, right? You want Hampton, Ward. Well, Hampton's gone, so you can't go him. So you would go Ward or Travis Hunter, right? Because what's funny is Ward usually lasts longer. The chance to draft him later in a draft is higher than it is for Hampton, even though one's a quarterback, the other isn't. So usually Ward is still available. At 104, obviously, if you need a quarterback, you're going Ward, right? There's no other discussion to be had.
Agreed. But a big thing is those, what I've noticed with those like 104, 105, 106 teams, I already kind of have two quarterbacks. Maybe one was injured last year. One was Drake May, who just didn't perform up to where we thought he was. So I find myself in the position, a lot of those picks, that I'm just not taking Cam Ward. I would rather get a skill position player. Although at the 102 and 103, I could see myself taking Ward a lot more often because those teams are so in need of a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm with Mitch there. Like the longer it kind of goes, the more it's like, I probably could be fine with like trading 104 for like Baker and a plus,
Okay.
right? Goff and a plus. I'm because those teams are already kind of set. So I'm with Mitch. Like I would much rather take the skill option, even if it's a little more riskier, value wise. I would much rather take that than take the Cam Ward piece.
So let's say Ward's not an option, but Hunter is and TreVeyon Henderson are. Are you taking TreVeyon Henderson no matter what if you needed a running back? Let's say you would have taken Hampton if you had the ability to. So TreVeyon Henderson's there. Do you just go, well, he's going to take the place of of Hampton because he's not here. So I'll just draft him. Or do you then instead draft Travis Hunter? Assume the running back is a need. Right? You go zero running back. You don't have any other first round draft picks. Are you going to go with the safety of a safety relatively, right? Are you going to go with TreVeyon Henderson still, or would you go Travis Hunter shooting the upside? Or would you go Ted McMillan?
I'm going wide receiver. I am. Maybe in one of my drafts, I've taken a running back there. I don't think I have. I think I've gone wide receiver every single time. And I'm going wide receiver over the tight ends, even not caring what the premium is at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just looking at Dynasty Daddy. I mean, 104 or Ladd McConkey.
104. But you know what? In the sense, it's funny. It's 104 if I'm drafting Travis Hunter. I don't know if it's 104 if it's TreVeyon Henderson, but it's got there's four players it could have been, right? Gentry's gone, Hampton's gone, Ward is gone. So in theory, if that's how it played out, in theory, I could go TreVeyon Henderson or Travis Hunter. I'm not trading Travis Hunter for Ladd McConkey. I want Travis Hunter, but I would trade TreVeyon Henderson for Ladd McConkey. But let's just say it went 3 running backs in a row, right? Like just right off the rip, and you're sitting at 104. Then I guess it's easy for you. You just take Travis Hunter.
Okay. Yep. I mean, we've probably all seen across the many drafts we've done, just so many different variations of 1, 2, 3, and then we've also had pre-drafts where we've heard stories where folks were taking tight ends in these spots. So, I mean, not saying that's something I would do, but like if I'm at 104 and everything else is set, right? I got Josh Allen and Justin Herbert quarterback. I got plenty of running backs. I've got a bunch of wide receivers, and it's a 175 tight end premium or 2 tight end premium. And this is my only first round pick, and I can't move out of it. I mean, it's probably like a 1% outcome, but it's
Warren.
It's probably there. And it doesn't feel good, right?
I can't. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Regardless of, let's just say I'm set everywhere else, I don't care. I can't take them. Maybe if it's 2.0 and 2-point tight ends, or not 2-point tight ends, excuse me, start 2 tight ends and a 2-point tight end premium, then I think I would go ahead and take.
If there's a market, right? Like because at that point you're probably just like, listen, I got to get out of this pick. And one thing I'm noticing in Dynasty Daddy is like people are literally like liquidate get out prices. So it's like 104 for like 106 and 206. That's it. Like they're not even, like people are really just like, I just want something to
So I
move
just
down
moved
2
down.
spots.
Okay. All right, Mitch, let me ask you this, right? You're at 105,
Mhm.
quarterback room set. Somehow Cam Ward makes it there. Are you passing up on Cam Ward at 105?
I have, to be honest, I have in leagues. And I know it's so league specific because there are leagues to where I swear I had 4 to 5 starting quarterbacks on my roster, but they weren't good starting quarterbacks, right? They were the Jared Goff. I had a Kirk Cousins when he was starting at the time. And, just quarterbacks like that. Dude, you can't trade those guys anymore. It's so hard. Like, unless someone goes down to one quarterback and they'll be like, hey, I'll give you my 2nd round pick. And you're like, well, no, he's worth more than a 2nd round pick. Well, that's all you're going to get. So then they end up sitting on my roster. And so if I'm already knowing that is my league dynamic, I'm not taking Cam Ward just because he's a quarterback. To me, I think he's in a good spot. I could 100% sell myself into him, but I'm at the 105. I want to try to compete next year. I want to try to build a good roster to compete. If he ends up being my quarterback 3 or quarterback 4, it's not really helping my team unless I know there's a market for him as soon as the draft's over.
Okay. Is there anyone outside of, I already know Brandon would say yes. Is there anyone outside of Cam Ward, Tet, Hunter, or Trey Henderson that you would take here? Again, the caveat being Genty's gone, Hampton's gone, etc.
Yeah, this is 100% knowing the people that you draft with. I have a lot of leagues with the DD fantasy community.
Yeah.
And if you want RJ Harvey, you have to take RJ Harvey before the 107 and the 108 because someone's going to take him because he's like everyone's most talked about player in the Discord right now. Whether you like him or hate him, there's going to be someone in the league that just flat out really, really likes him. And so Harvey is a guy that I have taking him at the 105, the 106. And everyone's like, oh, you don't have to do that. You do in those leagues. And if I truly believe, like what I say, is he outside of Hampton and Genty, he's going to be the best rookie running back in this class this year. That's going to help you win dynasty leagues. Then that 3-pick swap in those leagues, that's where I'm going to get him at. And it's just something that I know it's not great process, but if that's the player that you want, that's where you're going to have to pay in those leagues. You don't seem happy with that. You seem like there is no chance in hell I would take Harvey at the 105.
I can't because I know the options, right? I know that there has to be someone. Hunter has to be there. Trev Henderson has to be there. Let's see. Let me just run through it again, right? Genty gone, Hampton gone, Travis Hunter gone, Cam Ward gone. That means Henderson.
I've taken him over Henderson. Yes.
Okay. Henderson or Tet. I gotta take one of those 2 dudes. I gotta take one of those 2 dudes. And again, your point is spot on. If you actually want Harvey though, and this is the only pick you have in this draft, or in this first round, this is the only way you're going to get him in a lot of leagues. If you're in a league with, yes, any one of us or any of the 6 degrees of separations that we have, you're not getting him if you let him fall. So yeah, I understand your point there. So you actually threw RJ Harvey into the mix. Meanwhile, in my own personal mock draft that I did on the elliptical the other day, RJ Harvey wasn't even a thought at this point, to be quite honest with you. That's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Brandon, let me ask you. You're in a lot of these leagues too. Are you seeing Harvey go a lot higher than what you expect, or is it just what you expect now in these leagues?
I mean, it really depends on like what leagues, who's in the league, right? Like if I'm in a league with a lot of people from Destination Devy, we've been talking about RJ Harvey since February. So we've got it's a little like people really want RJ. And now that he's in a system that will make him very valuable to folks, I'm seeing him 106, 107. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he gets to 105 by the end of the summer. Whereas, I was in a league that doesn't have Destination Devy community folks, and they're not as high on him. And so he slips more to 110, 111, 112.
202. I saw him fall to
there you go.
202 in a non-community league, and I was trying with every fiber of my being to get up to get him. And the dude rejects my trade and goes, "Oh, I was about to accept that until I saw that RJ Harvey was sitting out there, and I was heartbroken." And I went, I probably should have taken him at like 109, but we are where we are. So at 106. Brandon, what are you doing at 106? Let's just say it is a tight end premium. Well, this is no fun because you'd already take a tight end at 104 if it was a tight end premium. So let me ask you this. It's just a 1.75 tight end premium.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
I'll shut it down now. No.
Okay. So it has to be a 2.0 tight end premium for you to take a tight end 106 or better.
Yeah. I mean, because 175 really doesn't do like neither of these guys are currently in spots where I'm like, yeah, it's not a Brock Bowers situation, right? Where they're going to walk in. You feel like they're going to walk into at least 80 to 90 targets plus. They're going to have 70 plus catches. And, it's somebody who's completely, both of them probably year one are going to have some struggles, whether that's because they're behind somebody like Loveland is competing with Kmet, or you're in an offense like Indianapolis where you're going to probably be tied to a quarterback battle. It's probably best for year one. Like if you're trying to take one of these guys, it's probably not the best thing you want. 106, is Henderson still there?
Let me go through this. Let's say this is a league.
Henderson's gone. Henderson's gone.
Here's the scenario. Let me give you the what if. Okay.
Yep.
It is a running back heavy loving league. It's a league, probably one of our leagues, right? Because most of us build through wide receivers and quarterbacks, and our running backs are not very good. We might have one good one and then a bunch of just random muck on the team. So let's just say Genty, Hampton, Henderson, and Harvey went off the board.
Oof.
Those four at 106. And guess what? Travis Hunter went off at 105 because I'm not making it easy on you. So then what are you doing at 106? Are you already going the Judkins route? Or Caleb Johnson if he's your guy? Because those are the only other two running backs you could go, right?
Yeah, I'm scouring around the Dynasty Daddy trade base to see if I can find like a running back or something that I can get out of, but nothing in there really seems appealing. Like because this is also the range where the folks that are at the back half of your first probably are just like, I'm comfortable with any one of Tet, Caleb, or Quinshon. Like I'm happy there. And if for some reason one of those falls, like I'm cool. If I had to put myself in the vacuum, I'd probably take Tet. Like if I have to place like somewhat safe, I'll take Tet. Top 10 draft capital with Bryce Young and the Panthers offense. Dave Canales kind of got it going towards the end of the season. So you feel a little better about the offense going into the offseason.
And if it say went RB heavy like that, and then Travis Hunter at 105, you won't even think about Cam Ward. Just assume your quarterback room is good, right? This is what I'm trying to get into the mindset of understanding. When is Cam Ward too good of a value to pass up? When you don't need him, right? It's easy when you need him. Absolutely need him. It's easy when you need him, right? But when you don't need him, how far is far enough for him to be an actual value that you just can't let him fall any further?
Probably after 6.
After 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like after 6, like because I've seen him go 7, 8. I've seen that a couple times where I've seen folks just not willing to. And I think Scott kind of hinted at it in the chat there. Like the quarterback hoarder is just like wants and salivates for Cam Ward at any one of these picks. They're probably going nuts saying, why are you guys not taking quarterback? Like it doesn't make sense. I'll just scoop them up here. But I think people are catching on to like skill players are still really valuable too here. And so I'm cool with taking Tet here. After Tet, then it's like, okay, now you're making the Cam Ward or Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, right? That's when it gets, I think for a lot of people, it'll probably get like, okay, I kind of got to take Cam, even though I probably love Quinshon or I love Caleb. I still love, like, I feel like people are still in that. I need to take Cam because I don't think anybody's really convinced at 106. Like my quarterback room's probably decent. So I'm a fringe playoff team already. So I probably have at least one good quarterback. I can manipulate the QB2 market as much as I want. Like getting the safety of having one in Cam Ward is nice, but I probably could in this in season probably play the carousel of. I'm trying to think of guys that are really far
No,
down there.
it
I kept
doesn't.
saying I
Not
kept saying
Derek Carr.
not Derek Carr
You can
anymore.
take Derek
I was going
Carr-
to say Derek
Carr out
Carr,
of
but
that. Right.
but
So let's say your rookie draft is today. What if your rookie draft is today, and you have a 201 through 205 pick? Are you willing to pass up on Cam here, even if you need a quarterback? Even if you need a quarterback, it's not desperate need, but you could definitely use a quarterback. Would you be more apt to go another route here, thinking that, well, maybe I can just get Tyler Shuck at 202, for example, and just run him out there?
if you would have said that 12 hours ago, I don't think the answer would be as clear. Right? If we were sitting here and we recorded this last night before the Derek Carr news, we probably wouldn't feel as comfortable taking a Tyler Shuck early second.
I've seen Jackson Dart a lot in the second round, like
That
way too much for a first round quarterback. And so, to your point, yeah, like I'm willing to wait at that point because I know I could get another quarterback who I think's value can gain. And so, like, I plan on a lot of Jackson Darts at the 111, 112, 201 area because that point I'm just stacking my team with more value that I think I can move at a later date.
So I just wanted to bring up this comment from Geist. Geist? I'll say it's Geist. Yeah. At 105 or later, it's always Cam. And yeah, I told you guys, like when I was doing this mock draft by myself on the elliptical, I got to the 105 and it said, no matter what my situation, Cam Ward, if he's available. Now, it's also easy to say that when I've never had to make that decision. So that is part of it. And I've been in, I'll say 20 rookie drafts, just pure rookie drafts, not where rookies were in the startup. And I've never really been faced with that decision. And if I have, I didn't even think about it and went some other way and didn't think about it until, well, now. Okay. So you wouldn't go Cam Ward at 106. I forget. Who would you go at 106? Pet?
That was where I would go T-Mac.
T-Mac.
Yeah, I feel good with T-Mac there. Like, you know, he's and it's funny, we were talking about this in the Discord. I think Ray posed the question, like, what is the ADV right now on Tet? And I think I don't think it's necessarily, it's not negative, but I think it's like neutral to positive, right? People feel good about the landing spot. They feel good about the draft capital. Now they want to kind of see the production to match it to really be a positive ADV. I think that's really where he's at.
Did they watch Ray's video talking about that?
Well, if they haven't, they probably should.
T-Mac. I got to stop calling him Tet because that's not his preferred name.
We'll all get there.
He might watch the show. He might watch, you know what I mean? Like he might come across a show someday just by accident. And he's like, these dudes keep calling me Tet. So I'm never going to.
I'll say my favorite thing now is there's enough. A lot of these guys are on social media. And so they'll clap back at fantasy analysts for saying stuff about him. And it's like my favorite thing now when someone like clowns on him because I think it's great.
Oh, yeah. Like RJ Harvey tweeting today that it's Cap that he was dropping passes.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. I know what Cap means because I'm cool. So players that we know are definitely gone by 107, right? Because that's what we're up to now. Genty. And tell me if you disagree, but Genty, Hampton, Henderson,
Hunter's gone.
Hunter. Are those the only five that we can guarantee that are gone? Because even Cam Ward, like even in the comments, I'm seeing some people just like, and you guys have already said it in drafts, you've seen him drop. But typically,
I feel like this probably is where we probably could say T-Mac. Probably this is probably the last pick.
Really close, yeah.
Like it's really close because like 107, you're like what?
I mean, so 107, just because it's me, right? I'm looking.
Yeah, you go.
I got Jenny off the board, Ward off the board, Hampton, Hunter, and McMillan, right? So I did have Tet as being gone. And that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the first 6 picks I think are actually gone. Like there's no chance. Like this is where I think you are always in the Judkins, Harvey. This is where the tight end premium comes into question. And it's like, well, if it's 2.0 tight end premium, do I start thinking about Warren here? Is it 2 tight end starters and a 1.75 tight end premium? Do I do that? I'll just be honest with you. My default at this pick every time I've had the opportunity and given the decision outside of maybe once or twice. And it's only been because my portfolio has gotten so out of whack. I went Quinshon Judkins every time. And some of that is my biases before the draft, right? I didn't expect RJ Harvey to go as early as he did, and I didn't expect him to land in the situation he did. So I think I'm still having trouble working through passing up on Judkins. Now, I will say this, as the drafts have gone on, I've been cognizant going, all right, I already have 7 Judkins. Like that's a lot. Like just looking at the percentage, he's already, he's 24%. He's 24% rostered on my lineup. So I've started to move to RJ Harvey here. Is there anyone else that's even in this mix between RJ Harvey, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson?
Let's just say the quarterback fell. Let's play that scenario.
Ward.
Cam's here. Do you take Cam over all of the running backs?
Cam's already been on my you got to draft him no matter what list since 105.
Well, the reason why I ask is because, and I see Scott over in the chat, like, because he brings up a good point, right? What if your quarterback room is like set? You know, it's not just the easy hammer button to just run up there and click Cam, because Cam doesn't feel like that kind of player, at least right now to the fantasy community, that it's like, yeah, he dropped. I gotta take the value and I gotta run. Like that's why I'm asking the question. Like if you were sitting there and you've got 7 Quinshon Judkins and you got Quinshon and Cam Ward, yeah, you're probably going to take Cam because you're just like, I don't want to continue to be more overweight on Quinshon. Or would you consider Cam there?
Yeah, so with Scott's scenario, right? Where's his oh, here you go. Let's just put it up. Scott, good dude. I like him. Scott Connor, if you have Allen and Lamar and your best running back is Trey, which again, how we build our teams is not crazy talk. Are you still taking Cam? So this is the thing that I left out of the equation, right? And I probably should have thought of. The fact that Cam Ward is available to me at 1.7 probably tells me that my league really doesn't value Cam Ward that much. Because if they did, someone else would have jumped in and said, you know what? I'm not letting Cam Ward fall here. Hell no. And, you know, me and Scott have done some roster reviews where we do a mock going through trying to figure out, you know, where the dude or the ladies team that we're reviewing, what they're going to have available to them. And we've had Cam Ward fall to 108 in a couple of them. So the more I talk through this, I think I do have to get rid of my Cam Ward over everything after 105 because, quite frankly, it's not true. It's just not. I am more willing to go one strong QB, one weak QB, or you know what I mean? Just rotating that second quarterback. Like if I have Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, I'm not drafting Cam. I'm probably not drafting Cam, and especially if he's fallen this far, guess what? Because that means Dart's going to fall. And if I have a second rounder, I might get Dart at that point. And even if not either of those two, guess what? I'll draft Tyler Shough.
And that's why we play the what if game, right? Because if it happens, which it's happened already, probably in 1 or 2 of our leagues already, you know, we've got folks saying, oh, I got Cam at 106 in my money league. Like it's probably happening more often than we like to think. And so what do you do in that scenario when you're sitting there and it just keeps happening? Like how far do you let that knife go?
I'm letting it go one more at least. So I'm at 107. If Tet's there, you take Tet, right? Over every running back, over RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, and who else did I say? Quinshon Judkins.
Yep.
Yeah. And we play in PPC league. So that's saying something, right? Like we all play in full PPR PPC league. So everyone's on board. You would take Tet over all the running backs there. It's funny because I would be again, my running back rooms are not good for the most part. So I would heavily consider RJ Harvey from this point on. Drafts prior to, you know, the last week or so, it was all Quinshon Judkins, but I'm so overweight on him that I have to go another way. That's a whole another consideration, right? If you play in portfolio leagues, does that affect how you draft in rookie drafts? Does that, like, are you cognizant of the fact that you've got 7 players out of you've got the same player, sure, 25% of your league. I'll just put it, that's what I have. Do you then start just going, you know what, let me go a different quarter, or let me go another running back route, even if you're going to go to the same position?
I use it if I don't. Let's go with like Tet Hunter. I'm okay going 50-50 there because I'm willing to say I'm wrong on one of those guys and they both can end up being extremely good. If it's a guy that I like RJ Harvey or Quinshon, I'm taking RJ Harvey every time. I mean, I believe in my take that he's going to be good. And so I know if I have more of him on and he ends up doing well on my rosters, I'm going to do very well dynasty wise compared if I just end up splitting and one of them does well and one of them's pretty good. So I know player takes are kind of a touchy subject, but for me, I think it's extremely important. So I have a lot of faith in that team that RJ Harvey's on with the Broncos. And so for that reason, I'm willing to be a lot higher rostership wise on him than I am for like Cam Ward, right? I'm not walking in and being like, you know what? I really like Cam Ward. I want to get him on 15% of my teams. This just never enters the equation.
Okay. All right. So 107, I'm taking some variation of, apparently you guys are talking me into Tet McMillan. If he is there somehow by the grace of God, I am taking Tet McMillan. And apparently I'm taking him over Cam Ward in every situation except where I need a quarterback. You're right. If my quarterback room is set, there's no reason for me to do it because, again, the rest of the league has told me they don't even value him. So at 108, I stopped keeping track correctly. So let's see. We did Brandon Shane. Tet's gone. Tet's gone. 108. Yeah, Tet's gone. Hunter's gone. So the wide receivers of this class, the high end ones, the ones that we believe could be elite, I think most of us believe could be elite, are gone. The top 5 running backs are likely gone, right? That's 7. And then there's some mix of either Cam Ward or a tight end that's probably gone at this point, right?
More than likely. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do at 108, Mitch?
So this is why I love we're doing this show tonight after I've had so many rookie drafts, because it's changed very early, because I was drafting the day after the NFL draft stopped. And I was taking Jackson Dart here at the 108, 109, right around there. But you don't have to. Like in almost any league, you don't have to, because he falls a lot further than that. And so while I would have said that Jackson Dart 2 weeks ago, now I'm just hammering whatever running backs there, whether it's RJ Harvey, Caleb, Judkins, whoever is there, that's where I'm taking the running backs. After this is when I start to look at the tight ends, because my biggest worry with the tight ends is, yes, we value them here because of you're in a tight end premium league. That's their value, but they have to perform. I don't want to have the Dalton Kincaid who has the value because he's young, because we liked him coming in first round draft capital, yada, 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 right? But then he's not actually doing anything on the field. So you still can't trade him for anything. Everyone could call him the tight end 7, 8 as much as they want to. You can't get that value out of him no matter how hard you tried. I tried to move off a lot of him during the playoffs last year in some leagues to where I was allowed to trade in the playoffs, trying to get anything. And everyone's like, I'm good. I'm good. And I'm like, yeah, you don't like, you have a David Njoku, trade him to me. He's old. They're like, no, I'm good. So that's kind of why I'm kind of waiting on the tight ends to this point, because I'm worried that if they don't perform, yeah, their value's there, but you can't actually trade the value. So what use is that value actually?
Yeah.
Well, I've also noticed too, Mitch, and we've done enough mocks here on the channel. Whenever you take the first one, everybody seems to be like, you should have taken the other one. Because the other one ends up coming, because the other one ends up going like 112 to 202 range. And everybody's like, that's the value. And I've seen that again in leagues, right? Where it's like the first one goes off the board and then it's like, I'll wait 4 or 5 more picks and then I'll be fine.
It's probably just me. It's crazy how I did this, right? So the beginning of the draft process, obviously, like everyone else, I had Warren, like Loveland wasn't even in the conversation with him. Obviously, he was the tight end too, but it was like Warren by a mile. As we got closer to the draft, I definitely switched, and it was like, no, Loveland's my tight end 1. Then after the draft, Warren gets probably the worst draft position, right? He's obviously drafted later, and his quarterback is not good. And now I like Warren better. because I think there's a much, much clearer path to him being at least the second option in that offense, if not the one. And I know that's crazy to say, right? Because he's a tight end. We've seen it before, but it's only a select few that have. So I'm apt to go with Warren here. Here's a good question though, right? If I can bring it up. There you go, Shane. Cal Jensen. So what if RJ, Judkins, and Caleb are all there at 108? It's PPC, right? Because that probably helps Caleb and Judkins a little more because they're probably not going to catch as many passes as RJ. But RJ's still going to be benefited by the PPC. But if these three are there, RJ, Judkins, Caleb, who are you taking?
We know who Mitch is taking.
Yep, in that order. That's exactly how I'm going.
RJ, Judkins, Caleb. Yep. Okay.
I mean, I'm probably taking a lot of RJ. I'm probably taking RJ a majority of the time. I'm probably more Caleb than Judkins. But I mean, I was looking through the trade database. If you can get out, that would be great. I mean, if you get a lucky goose where someone sends you the 108, if you can do the 108 and the 308 for Saquon Barkley, you do that and you run out of there because I'd rather take Saquon Barkley over all three of those guys for at least the short term in Dynasty.
Have you guys seen a lot of those veterans for picks trades this year? Because I'm saying I haven't seen a lot of them, and I know I haven't accepted any that have been sent because I'm like, that's not even close. I'm just taking the rookie here.
I haven't seen many. Honestly, I haven't seen many. I know we've talked about a lot of different scenarios, but on the clock, I haven't seen many 1-for-1 veteran ones because I feel like people are just like, I'll just take the running back. It's fine.
I traded JJ McCarthy for the 106 today. Does that count?
Yeah.
He's technically a position player. Yep. This is probably not a great idea, but whatever. I don't care. I don't think JJ McCarthy is going to be anything special. I think he could be, a top 15 tight end, but more closely to the 15 part of that than the top. Just big Diaz energy points out, trade back. He just did it, took a 3 or something and a 5 or something. Problem is if those running backs are available, 3 of them, and I'm sitting two spots behind you, I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm not putting the capital up.
Yep.
I'll add a 4th, maybe. I'll add you the 410 if I'm just like, I need to get my RJ Harveys up. I only have 4 of him. I need to get my Caleb. I don't want to trade up for Caleb when I could get Judkins. You know what I mean? Like those two feel redundant to me. Like, why would I trade up for one of those two? I guess I could see it more for RJ Harvey than I could those two because those two are redundant. So if one of them falls, I don't care which one.
Especially if it's a point per carry, right? If it's Judkins and Caleb and a point per carry, any point per carry premium.
Yes.
Then it feels even more like I'm just fine. I'm comfortable with whatever you give me at that point.
So 109, is this where Emeka Ibuka makes his first appearance, or maybe I just glossed over him earlier? Could he have made an appearance earlier?
I haven't seen him go that early. I've seen him 109. I think that's probably where we start to, like, if there's somebody who wants to go and believe the story that Mike Evans is probably literally a 1,000-yard wide receiver, and Chris Godwin is coming off of ankle injury, so Ibuka can overtake Jalen McMillan right away because of whatever story that's already seeded. I could see 109. I think that's fair.
Mitch, anyone else new entering the chat for you at 109 that we haven't already discussed?
Close, but I'm still taking. Usually, Caleb is still there at that point. I'll take Caleb. This is when I start to entertain the tight ends. Love Ibuka. Is there another wide receiver that's even remotely on your guys' list here? Does Matthew Golden ever enter your mind over Ibuka?
Not post-draft. Maybe pre-draft, but not post-draft. I've seen Golden sliding, actually.
So Golden, my line of demarcation is literally Cam Scatterbo. That's my line of demarcation. I'm not drafting Cam Scatterbo over any first-round wide receiver, even if I don't like them. I'm just that's my line of demarcation. When I have the choice between Ibuka and Matthew Golden, I have been going Ibuka. I think it was only like once, to be quite honest with you. Generally, I don't pick either of them. Generally, if Caleb's here, this is a Caleb pick, and that's what it's been. I think I've gotten him I overdrafted him in one league this morning just because I wanted another share. But in every other league I've gotten him, and it's been like 108, 109. So no. So no one wants Golden here, right?
Not me. Nope.
Okay. No one else would enter the chat, right? So it's literally whichever one of the running backs is left. If one of the running backs is left, if not, then that probably means Ibuka's there or Loveland.
Yes.
I mean, let's do the what if.
Okay.
All right, let's do the what if. All right, we've got Cam's gone, Tet's gone. The big three running backs are gone. Two right, so two wide receivers are gone. So we're at 109. So we've got Ibuka or Quinshawn Judkins.
Judkins
Quinshawn.
every time. Yeah.
Okay. Ibuka or pick your tight end one. I don't care.
Tyler Warren.
Yeah, depending on the settings, usually it's Tyler Warren.
So 1.5 tight end premium because more people playing that than they do the 2.0, I think.
Yeah, and if it's that, I'm going Ibuka.
You're going to Ibuka in 1.5.
Yep. Yeah.
I am going Tyler Warren because I think Tyler Warren could be a difference maker. But that's more of has more to do with the positional scarcity and what I think Tyler Warren could be than probably that specific play. Like whatever tight end is in this range next year, if there is one, we have another one of these or in 2 years, I would do the same thing. You know what I mean? If there's a tight end that's probably in play here, I'll probably go the tight end because that means they could be a difference maker.
My worry with these tight ends is just taking rookie age out of it altogether. Would I rather have Jake Ferguson walking into the season? Would I rather have one of these rookies on my team? I think I'd rather have Jake Ferguson.
Ooh.
Which is like he's not good, right? But he's in that offense to where Dak's going to get him the ball. You could see him getting some easy targets. He's not good, but I just can't get myself to really fall in love with these tight ends yet.
All right, one last what if.
Okay.
We're going to go 14-team Superflex. Quinshawn Judkins or Jackson Dart.
14-team Superflex. I need a quarterback. I got to go Jackson.
It's 109, so you're not necessarily needing a quarterback, but you probably know that one's available.
So here's the thing, right? 14 teams. I do have to think through like how much faith do I actually have in Tyler Shuck?
Mm-hmm.
Now I know I've been championing him since months ago. No one's ever actually apologized to me for trashing me in the comments. I championed him months ago, right? But when push comes to shove, do I actually have the sack to pass on Jackson Dart because Tyler Shuck could be there in 4 picks and I have a pick? Like, let's assume I have a pick in the second round because I probably do. I don't know, man. I don't think I actually have the stones for it.
That's why I asked the question, right? Because this is kind of like close. It's not necessarily. I don't want to say it's risky, right? Because Mitch even said it. Like Dart. He was hammering Dart in the pre-mocks. Like it was there, and he gets kind of what we thought. Late first round draft capital goes to a spot where you have to imagine he's going to start at least half the season. You probably have one good quarterback here. Do you need to pull the trigger on a Jackson Dart, even because the league values quarterbacks?
It's a 14 team Superflex. Yes.
So
you have to.
But you have Quinshawn Judkins right there, or Caleb John. Either one. It doesn't really matter.
So here's the thing, right? So earlier in the conversation, earlier in the draft, it's easier to pass up on Cam Ward in the same scenario. You want to know why? Because the players I'm passing him up for, the ceiling. Right? Travis Hunter ceiling. Ted McMillan, as much as people want to poo-poo him, his ceiling is a wide receiver 1. It is. It just is. 2.0 tight end premium on that. He's not in the mix for that. But obviously Gentry, Hampton, right? There's reasons I get Hampton's another guy that could be like an absolute monster. So there's legitimate like, okay, these guys it wouldn't matter. I know I could play a quarterback in the Superflex. I don't have to. When I'm down at this end, though, right, and I'm looking at Emeka Egbuka, Caleb Johnson, or Jackson Dart, it feels like their ceiling, the non-quarterback dudes I just said, is lower than the earlier players in the conversation that I passed up Cam Ward for. So I would have to go Jackson Dart here.
Here's the thing for anyone who doesn't play in a lot of 14-team leagues, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret. Yes, it's hard to get quarterbacks. Do you know what's harder to get? good running backs. You have to overpay for running backs so much in those 14 and 16 team leagues because they're hard to get on 12 team leagues. And now look at how like bad a 14 team roster is when you just don't have anything at running back and you're like trying to scrounge and just make the playoffs and hope that your two horrible running backs that you have actually do good. And so for me, while I still love Jackson Dart, hometown kid, yada, 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 I've talked about it a lot. I'm going the running back here because I'm going to have to find someone who wants Jackson Dart as well. Unless like I'm counting on him for some reason late in the season. Hey, I don't love my quarterback too. He could fill in for me later in the year and I don't have to worry about trying to trade out that value. I'll just take that value now because I know Judkins and Caleb are at least going to play and they're going to do hopefully well the first 8 games to where if I need to go get a quarterback, then I could probably move that kind of running back and get a veteran quarterback in return.
Okay. Just figured throw that what if out there, right? Because we're getting to that. It's in the range where you start to think about it in certain formats, but you don't necessarily. It's not off the table, but it's not necessarily like the forefront. Like, oh, I should take quarterback.
No, and then look, now we're in the 110, 111, and 112 range, like where you're getting to which one of the best available is available, right? Like, is there anyone we haven't discussed? We've talked about Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, Jackson Dart, Caleb, Judkins, what's that other guy's name? Genty, Tet, Trav Hunter. Did I say Cam Ward? That's 9. I forget who else I talked about. Sure, there's other players. Emeka Buka. Who else enters the chat between 110 and 112? Is this where it is? Matthew Golden?
Yeah, I think Gold. I mean, there's a section of folks that will believe that he's the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. What that means, nobody knows yet. But I think the first round draft capital means something.
Yeah, I'll just throw in. I won't go here, but I do think Luther Burden ends up being talked into this value within the next couple months. I think there's just going to be continuous steam building for him being the new, Amon-Ra St. Brown in that offense to where I could see him ending up at this value, even though I don't think he's there now.
All right. So other people, I'm just looking at the KTC ranks, right? They're just outside of the first round. RJ Harvey's at 12 on the KTC ranks. That's going to change quickly. Jackson Dart somehow is at 13. I'm not really sure how that is possible when Superflex is on, but yeah, we're neither here nor there. Jaden Higgins doesn't fall into that conversation, does he? Cam Scattaboo.
I've seen some Scattaboo love. I mean, people have come up for him.
First round?
I've seen
other than the one we made fun of.
I mean, other than the one that was in the community. Yeah, I think we're at the point now where the range on some of these guys, like chat just said, Burden fell at 2.8. Like Burden could probably be as high as 111 and as low as mid to late second. Cam's the same thing. Like either love Cam or you don't like love him. You still believe in Tyrone Tracy. Jackson Dart, he's another one. You want him or you're just like, I could get him later because he's probably not going to start right out of the gate. And good luck trying to get him once he does start.
So, does Jackson Dart? Is there ever a point of the draft where it gets to you can't let him fall any further? 12 in a regular 12 by 10 Superflex. Is there any point where you go, no, this has to be Jackson Dart, regardless of need? Because again, at this level, that the players that I'm passing up on are less good than the players earlier in the draft.
He shouldn't get into the second rounds, but I could see it. I mean, I'm seeing it, but I really like at 2-0 for me, 201. Like he's gonna get on the field in 2025. Like right. The only way it doesn't happen is if Russ Wilson turns into Seattle Russ, which we all probably agree is probably not happening. So at some point, Dart's getting on the field.
I would have, we could have held out that hope in Denver, right? We're like, oh, it's a new situation. No. Pittsburgh, well, maybe. No, I think it's safe to say that Russ is what he is now. He's a deep ball. He doesn't throw a lot, and when he does, it's a moon ball, which is hilarious because that's all he does. But it is what it is. Is there anyone outside of the first round that you think? You said Luther Burden. How about you, Brandon? Is there anyone you think that could jump into the first round somehow? By this time, but that wouldn't be by this time. Let's say in 3 months. Realistically.
I don't realistically think They're without any major injury, major situation. Because, like, let's just say there's an injury to, Jaden Higgins needs an injury. He's a guy who's been, consistently. I'm thinking of guys that are going in like that mid to late second range. Like Mitch is right. Burden's probably the one that could probably do it on his own. But like Jarquez Hunter needs Kyron to go down for anybody to think about steaming him that high up.
Right.
Same thing with Higgins. Higgins would need like Nico to go down for him to just walk into, wide receiver one opportunity. I just can't think of. I mean, Shuck's already kind of been drafted at like 202, 203.
Yeah.
Like that, like that's already happening. And that's probably where people feel most comfortable.
Could Shuck move up though? Because again, the bottom of the first, we're literally like, I don't know, throw this dude in, right? Let's just say Shuck shows out in training camp, which apparently every rookie did in the rookie mini camps. They're all great. Time for that again. But let's say like there's legitimate Nick Underhill's tweeting about how good this guy looks. I don't know if that guy tweets positive things, to be honest.
If Underhill does, then I'm in. Yeah. Okay. If he says anything good about somebody, then yeah, I'll pay the 108 because he, like you said, he doesn't really do that all that often.
Yeah, no, he's crankier than me, I think. Trey Harris did a 112. I mean, you would need a lot. You would need a lot.
Again, a lot of like it's almost like they're like the guys that are going like typically right now in the mid to late second, they're all kind of guys that are like one step from they need something to go right in front of them. Like Trey Harris, he needs somebody in front of him to go down.
And it's probably a lot harder leap for position players versus the quarterback. And the only quarterback it probably could be is Shuck. No matter what Sanders does, even if he's named the day one starter, I can't imagine, a month before the season that he would move up to the first round after being a fifth round.
The one that I'm thinking, now that I'm thinking about it, and again, it needs one step. It's Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
But it needs a big step, right? It needs Sam Darnold.
He needs to be Matt Flinham.
I mean, but if Sam Darnold were to go down, Jalen Milroe would get he's the kind of player with the kind of rushing upside because people believe in it. That's what he is, even though he wasn't a great runner at Alabama, but his volume of rushing, I could see a scenario where he would leap over Shuck and possibly be right there with Jackson Dart.
All right, so I think we'll hit some questions before we get out of here. I appreciate that, guys. That when I messaged you guys in the DM thread the other day, and if you are not part of the DD fantasy football community, you are crazy, to be quite honest with you. Like if you're here watching this on a Saturday night, you love this thing and you really should be in that community. You could get a discount for the first month, half off from literally any of us three, any of our 7 shows between us. You could DM us, any of us that you like the best, tweet at us. It doesn't matter, but you get access to the website. It's got the War Tool, which is great. Trinity, which is awesome. It's going to have articles next year. Obviously, we've got the Discord, which is probably the biggest tool, to be honest with you. The Heisman voice chats, where you get to listen to Ray and Scott talk through a lot of things, a lot of the time, a lot of the day, not just those guys, though. You get John Bauer's tiers. There's so much in there that I forget what's in there, to be quite honest with you. There's a roster construction tier. There's trading tiers. There's a mannequin chill tier. There's a dynasty theory tier. Dude, I should say. You should check us out. Just go to ddfantasyfootball.com. Use one of our promo codes, get half off the first month. Try it for the first month. If you don't like it, bounce. No hard feelings. We'll love you. But I don't think you'll want to. So I just wanted to hit a couple questions before we get out of here. Mitch, yes. RJ Harvey over Quinshon, PPR. Mitch is on mute, but Brandon was shaking his head hard. Yes.
Yes, I would take Harvey over Quinshon in points and PPR. Now let's flip the question. Is it RJ over Quinshon and PPC?
How heavy is the PPC?
PPC, I'll go Quinshon.
0.15 enough?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So basically any PPC, because I've seen 0.1. I've seen 0.05, which is just why. But yeah, so let's just do math real quick for people. 16 carries is worth 2.4 points in PPC if it's 0.15. So It's a pretty good mix. Yeah, I think I take Harvey in a non-PPC, but we play in PPCs, so we would go Quinchon. All right. Boo, 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 boo. Monkey Pack. This is the perfect class for my rebuild. Set of QBs and need RBs. Love it. I've mentioned this in the chat a lot. This is the perfect class for a lot of not just DD people, because a lot of us built this way before we got there. We built for wide receivers and quarterbacks, and you know what we needed? Running backs. And you know what this draft gave us? A crap ton of running backs. RJ over Caleb too. I think regardless of PPC, that feels easier, right?
Yeah, that one feels easier. I mean, but there's still there's still spots where people will value Caleb over RJ.
Are we concerned about Rome seeing Burden was taking? Oh, are we concerned Rome seeing Burden was taking a lot of snaps today? Are you concerned about Rome, seeing Burden was taking a lot of snaps today? Are you any worries about Rome?
I'd be more worried if Burden wasn't taking snaps in the rookie minicamp. That's what
I would be worried.
Honestly, there are a lot of people that are out on Rome now, and it's like the craziest thing to me. I saw him traded for the 201 straight up in a league, and I'm like, you are insane. I don't care how bad you think he is. You don't do that.
No, I am, and I've been looking to sell Rome, but I think the lowest I threw out there was the 109 in a second. First of all, I don't want to be a 1-for-1 because that means that I'm literally betting that I'm going to be able to guess better than what Rome's going to do, and I don't know that. So give me the second. 109 in the second is the least I could do. Dwayne Williams, my dilemma is Judkins or Caleb. I like to pick Judkins, but Simpson will take carries and targets away. Sampson will too. That's my bigger concern than Simpson. I think, and I don't take credit for this, Josh, I believe it was McAtee on the draft stream, said, you guys remember when they had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt? Nick Chubb was fine. I think it's going to be the same type of scenario. Yes, Sampson will have his games where he's useful, but I think this is Judkins' show. I don't know about you, Tim.
I mean, there's a decent chance that Jalen Warren is better than Sampson, right? He's going to end up taking work away from Caleb, right? All of these backs are in some sort of community backfield now. I mean, there's just not a lot of them that get the Ashton Jeanty, hey, you're going to get the ball 400 times. They're all in kind of the same spot. Even Marion Hampton, dude isn't walking into a 70% running back market share. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm there.
Good. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, those are coin flips. I mean, you talked about, you can play the portfolio game with those two because there's not really like a clear cut, one is significantly better than the other, both have a satellite back that are probably going to take away some of the touches, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And it'll keep them fresher. But I think those are guys with, like, if you have a conviction one way or the other, go 6-4, go 7-3. You don't need to be going 9-1. Just because you think that that Quinchon's better than Caleb, when your league may think differently.
And just be smart enough to know that you don't know everything. Like the smartest people in the world know the things that they don't know. They acknowledge at least that there's things that they don't know. Us three aren't scouts. You know what I mean? We know where their ADP is. We know who we like. But we know enough to know that if you're going to give me a little plus where I don't have to try to make that guess straight up, awesome. Let me do that. I just think this is funny. I just highlighted a couple different Cam things. Regardless of roster, you only pass on Cam if you don't believe in him. Top QBs worth more than any other top position. True. Top QBs, right? So we're talking literally Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Jaden Daniels, right? Like, that's the elite tier that's worth more than any other player. And even Burrow, Hurts, Burrow and Hurts probably are the two I've seen, and I've drafted Jamar Chase over both of them. So,
we just had this conversation. We did this little exercise this morning, I think. If Cam Ward is like, how many quarterbacks have been like top 12, like finished top 12 in their rookie season? And it's not many.
Very small.
It's very small. It's a very small handful. It's like CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert.
All right. And
then so if you think that Cam Ward is equal to them or better than them, sure, make the bet. as roll the dice. But that is, and that comment says it right there. Most managers are not believing that Cam Ward is at that tier. They feel like he's closer to Jared Goff, which
so we need a short, right? And I'm just going to timestamp this. We're at 110 exactly. I'm just going to say Cam Ward is the next Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if I believe that, but I think that would just be fun to tweet out on video. I've seen him comp to Patrick Mahomes just because of the weird arm angles and stuff, which is a very high compliment. But yeah, 99% of dynasty managers do not believe that Cam Ward is what's the word I'm looking for? Elite. There was a guy with a fun hat. This Ray Jarvin guy. Awesome hat. Why do you have to take Hendo? Why is he a lock to outperform RJH? Yeah, as he pointed that out, I don't actually have a reason that should be true, to be quite honest with you. If I'm thinking about it, like Harvey's on a better offense. We went through this, right? Mm-hmm. Harvey has a 3-down skill set and no one of note to challenge him. Ramondre Stevenson is not terrible. He's not bad. He's not elite by any, but he's a good running back on a so-so offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where I completely understand if someone's like, no, I want Henderson. But for you to be like 100% Henderson's better than RJ Harvey this year, I'm like, I would say it's 55-45, at best. And so the one thing that I have to keep reminding myself is we do have the new coaching staff. We have the OCs escaping my mind. Who's the Patriots OC?
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. Dude is really good. Like, he's not an okay offensive coordinator. He is top 5 of the last 20 years type of offensive coordinator. And so do I think he can make Henderson that much better than RJ Harvey? 100%. And so I'm okay if someone's like, hey, Harvey is going to be better. Just don't be 100% adamant, hey, you're stupid if you take Harvey over Henderson. Like, there's a lot more that goes into it than just that.
I would say it's not I think Ray's point is valid, right? I don't want to say that his point is not, but I think from a drafting perspective, even though you may feel that RJ Harvey might outproduce Henderson, which is a very real outcome, you don't need to draft that way. I think that's more what he was probably trying to come at, is like, you don't necessarily need to draft that, right? I don't need to reach into 104, 105 land just yet for RJ Harvey, when the rest of the community is saying, I'm still not 100% convinced that he's better than Caleb. Like Caleb and Quinshon. Like, no, like there's still a section of folks that they still have this thought of RJ Harvey is still back there behind those two. And that's fine.
It is.
But it's understanding, like, he could be the RB2 in terms of production, and you don't have to buy. Like last year was, perfect example, right? Bucky Irving. Mm-hmm. Right? Many of us loved Bucky. We kind of like put him to the side because of the slow 40s. We were like, I don't really, but then he got into an opportunity where it's like, hey, and you didn't have to pay nearly as high of a price. Now it's different because that was like 212, 301. But point being is that if you believe in somebody, but the community doesn't necessarily, or your 11 league mates don't believe in them, then you can wait a little bit. But you can believe in the production.
Yeah, you got to know your community, right? And that's why I put Scribble's note up there. RJ Harvey could easily be the RB2 in production amongst the rookies class this year. Best situation. Only running back who is a likely workhorse. I think Hampton.
Genty.
Hampton and Genty.
Genty feels like he's just programmed.
Genty's going to see 22 touches per game.
Oh,
you can bank on it.
Yep.
Him and Pete together. I know Pete doesn't call the plays, but he tells, it's his team. Trust me, he's the one passing along what we want to be. And what we want to be is a run first offense. And when we're not running the ball or throwing it to Bowers, think about throwing it to Genty. So Genty's going to be an absolute beast. I don't think there was any other questions. I think that was it. Yeah. So, guys, what do you got coming up?
Let's see. We got Theory on Monday. I think we're talking about, what are we doing? Oh, I think top 5 league winners. I think we're going to go with that after the rookie draft. Hint, Dak's going to be probably number 1 on that list. And then I can't remember what we're doing on trending, but trending will be on Thursday, like always.
I'm just
B-Dash,
gonna-
it's coming.
We're coming next Saturday. So if the chat has something, has an idea that they want me to discuss, or maybe not me, and maybe Shane, because Shane and I just seem like we're having fun on Saturday nights. So, we'll kick around a topic and we'll have some fun. And it's the off season, so we're just enjoying. I'm enjoying drafts. I'm enjoying the community. Join ddfantasyfootball.com. Use the promo code. Like that's what's coming up next. Is really the conversations. This conversation tonight is a microcosm of the larger conversation that's been going on for the better part of 2 weeks post draft.
Yeah.
So
that is one of the many great things about the community. There are some player takes, right? There's a lot of theory, but there are player takes. There is trade conversation. It's all of it. So that's all I got. I appreciate everybody joining us tonight on this Saturday night. Go out and do fun stuff now. So talk to you later. Bye.